Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever we are in the world, and welcome back to episode 5 of 17 going on 30. We have a solo podcast this week. We have no special guests. We seem to be alternating. That wasn't planned, but that's just the way that it's gone. Oh well. Yes, this is episode 5. Oh my god, what a week it has been. We are now 3 exams into the exam season. I'm finished. One A-level is done. I have 1 more to go, 2 more exams, and then I'm finished. So 2 weeks time, not even 2 weeks, it's like less than that, 9, 10, 11, 12 days, 13 days. So essentially 2 weeks, 13 days and I'm done. Which is unbelievable. I have prom, which I actually need to start planning stuff for, because I have not planned anything for it. All I've done is looked at it and gone, cool, that's happening, and then decided I'm going, and then not said anything about it to anyone or thought about it at all. So this is me thinking about it now, which is wildly unhelpful to everything. I wanted to say thank you to everyone who's been listening and watching along, and all of your support has been really appreciated over the last 5 weeks. Can't believe it's been 5 weeks since I started the podcast, honestly. I was sat talking to my best friend about it the other day. I was like, I genuinely, how I've been doing this for 5 weeks is actually insane. Having had this start as literally a chuck away comment of, I could do a podcast, and then actually doing it and starting it. I always said when I was younger, I remember saying, if I did a podcast, I have so much to talk about, because I can talk, I can yap for forever. This is not uncommon knowledge. So the fact that I was actually able to put this in to go and actually do it is insane. But yeah, no, it's been a very busy couple of weeks. My last ever night as Mayor's Cadet last night. That was such a bittersweet moment. So for the area that I do cadets in, we had a Mayor's Cadet, and I've been a Mayor's Cadet for a year now. I help out on different events. So I was with the Mayor for VJ Day last year, and then a couple of other events here and there throughout the year, and Remembrance Parade in November. I was with the Mayor and then laid the wreath on, as we called it then, on behalf of the youth of the town that we do. And that was amazing. And yeah, last night was my last night, so not as a cadet, my last night as Mayor's Cadet. So the badge is now handed up. Well, we're going to frame it. I'm sat looking at it. I'm going to put it in a frame so that I've always got that bit to remember the last year by. It's been a chaotic year, honestly. So I actually wanted to talk to you guys today about a medical thing that I had last year. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm actually going to talk about this. So last episode, I remember I briefly mentioned when I was on the podcast with my sibling, and a couple of episodes before that, last year I had quite a lot of medical issues. And it took a massive toll on me, obviously physically and mentally. So just over a year ago, and it will be just over a year ago, I had discovered a lump in my breast, and it was terrifying. I was like, I don't know if I need to be scared or what. And I mean, I had discovered it previously, so we'll go back to December 23. I found it and I was like, it's probably nothing. Spoke to my mum and she was like, yeah, it's probably just hormones, it's probably nothing to worry about, you're growing, it's gonna happen. I was like, okay, that's fine, it's not causing me any pain, it's nothing to worry about, I'm just gonna pretend it doesn't exist. Essentially, I put it in a box and went, if I put this into this box and I shut it away, then I don't have to think about it, and then that's a whole thing that's I can just shut that out of my life for a while. And that was brilliant. Until around this time last year, I was doing a lot of different cadet events. I was out of the house essentially every day of the week, and that was fine. It was brilliant. I was getting out of the house, I was doing things, but the lump had grown and was starting to hurt quite a bit actually. And then mid-June, late June, I was like, I do need to. I started talking to my close friends at the time. I had these 2 really good best friends of mine, and they were like, you need to think about actually doing something about it. And I was like, no, it's fine. Having spoken to my mum about it like 6 months ago, I'm not worried. Yeah, it hurts, but it's probably just hormones, and it's probably just because I'm due on my period or whatever. And I didn't think anything about it. And then a month after that, it's the 24th of July last year, I woke up that morning, and I was supposed to go around to my other friend's house, and we were going to burn. We did like what we called the Great Burning. And it was me and my boyfriend at the time and his best mate and then one of our other mutual friends. It was the 4 of us. And that morning I'd woken up and I was in so much pain that I physically did not know what to do. I was sat there like holding my side and I was like, Mum, I think I need to phone the doctor. Sorry, I'm trying really hard not to cry about this. I was like, Mum, I think I need to phone the doctors. I think this is the point at which I can't not do this anymore. And she's like, okay. So I phoned the doctors that morning about 11 o'clock, and they said, cool, well obviously not cool, but we can get you in for a appointment at 12 o'clock if you want to walk up. And that's fine, because where I am, the doctor's surgery is literally like a 5-minute walk from I'm really nervous about talking about this. The doctor's surgery is literally a 5-minute walk from my house, so I was like, okay, that's fine. So we walked to, I made the decision. Dad was out somewhere, I don't remember what he was doing. Mum was sat in the garden, and I was like, I'm going to go on my own. She's like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, I'm going to go on my own, because I'm not sure how long it's going to take, and then I've got to come back and then get my stuff up together before I go to my friend's house for the evening, so I'll go on my own. That then didn't happen. My dad, I was sat in the waiting room and I was texting my other friend, and he was like, I'm just gonna go pick up your boyfriend and then we're gonna drive down. I was like, okay. And I was sat in the waiting room and I was like, I am actually terrified. And then my dad turned up and was like, you're not doing this on your own. You can try, but you can't do this on your own. I was like, okay. So I went into the appointment on my own. My dad stayed in the waiting room. I went into the appointment and they felt it. They got someone else in who had a feel about it, and they were like, have you had a history of breast cancer in the family? I was like, yeah, we have. My great-grandma, I think I said at the time, had breast cancer. She didn't die of breast cancer, she died of Alzheimer's dementia, but she did have breast cancer. She's like, okay. We are concerned. It is a hard lump, not a soft lump, so it's not a cyst, and it's not hormones. And I was like, okay, starting to like panic a little bit now. And they were like, we are going to we're going to recommend you get some scans at the hospital, and we'll get you some paperwork sorted for that, but it's not that we're concerned, but we are a little bit concerned about the size of it. And I was like, right, okay. And they're like, we are calling it a tumour. I was like, cool, okay. So I went home after that, and I called one of my other friends, and I'm so grateful for her. She was been a really, really good support for me of that period. And I was like, I am terrified, because I don't like talking about this. Like, this is terrifying. I don't know what is going on. She's like, well, just take it each day as it comes. We're going to do everything we can to help you. You've got a really good support system now, and we're gonna push through it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna just keep pushing through. So that was fine. I went to my friend's house that night. I told the people that I was with that was what's gonna happen. I was like, you guys are the only people that I want to tell right now, because this is quite a large thing for me. I don't know what's gonna happen. So that's where we're leaving it. Literally the next day, I got a letter through the door, and I mean, last summer I was sleeping in fairly late, so it would have been July 25th. I woke up and we'd already had a letter through the door to say that they were putting it it on a cancer fast track to get my scan sorted. And I was like, oh, okay. I, obviously being a teenage girl, hit panic and was like, shit. Okay, so this is like massively terrifying for me. I phoned my friend again and was like, what the hell? It's like, is this normal? She was like, yeah, it's normal because of where it is and because of your age, it's going to go through quickly. I was like, okay. So I called my friends and I was like, guys, help. And they drove down all up from where they are, and the three of us went on a walk and cleared my head. And that day we named it Luna the Lump. So when I talk about Luna was my tumour. I heard nothing from the hospital for a couple of weeks, and my mum was like, if you've not heard anything after 2 weeks after this letter got sent, then you need to phone them. And I was like, okay. So I phoned the hospital and they're like, cool, we can get you in for a scan, literally like, I think it was like 4 days after that. And I was like, oh, that's soon, but sick. Okay, so I went up to the hospital on this day, and my friends at the time, my boyfriend and his best friend, and my mum drove me there, and then the two of them waited outside for me while I went in to have the scan and ultrasound. They made they had a cross, they had a Sharpie, and they put blue Sharpie on my boob and marked it, and then used an ultrasound, and they were like, so we're calling it a giant fibroadenoma. I was like, okay, no, it's not cancerous. It shouldn't develop into breast cancer, but there's a low risk, but there's not no risk. And I was like, right, okay, cool. That's not worrying at all. So my body obviously hit shock, and I was like, okay, brilliant. I went back into the waiting room with my mum, and then they called me back through, and I had a conversation with the consultant, and she was like, well, it's up to you. You can have surgery to have it removed, but it's entirely up to you. If it does continue to grow and if it does continue to get more painful, then we definitely recommend that you have the surgery, but you need to give us a call when you're ready and when you've made that decision. I was like, okay, that's something that I need to take away and have a talk with my parents about, have a talk with my friends and go, what's the plan here? So this was all before my birthday, and my birthday's mid-August, so that day I decided that I wanted to wait until at least after my birthday. I wanted to have my birthday, I wanted to enjoy it, be like, yes, 17, now I can attack this with head on, fully ready for it. And then just after my birthday, things kind of emotionally, I hit a bit of a rough patch. Me and my boyfriend at the time, we broke up, and it caused a bit of a thing. Like emotionally, I wasn't doing so great, and then his gets a little bit complicated on that side of things. And then I found myself with someone else, and I was really, really happy. But I was going into year 13, so I was going into final year of my A-levels, and I was like, right, okay, I don't want to have the surgery now because I'm, like, stressed about this. What on earth am I supposed to do? And then I kept saying to myself, okay, wait until after remembrance, because I was Mayor's Cadet at the time. I was like, I can't let the community down, I can't do this to myself. And I, in that moment, decided I was going to wait until after remembrance. And my other friend, she was like, you need to phone the hospital, you need to have the surgery because you're in pain to the point where it's hot outside and you're still wearing your jumper at cadets because you can see the lump. And I was like, yeah, I know. She's like, no, you need to phone the hospital. Like, I can't. I'm so... Surgery's a big thing. Like, especially for a teenage girl, I'm terrified to have my body cut open, especially in quite like a, sensitive area, have that revealed to people and have them go, I was terrified. She's like, you need to phone the hospital, and I was like, I can't, I just can't. And this was mid-October I had this conversation with her. Early November she was like, okay, because it wasn't long after they announced that Daniel Ricciardo had been replaced by Liam Lawson. I was distraught. And she'd said to me, mid-October, late October, around that time, she's like, if I buy you a Daniel Ricciardo McLaren shirt, you will phone the hospital. I was like, okay. So I did, late October, we kind of been too late October, I sat down, I phoned the hospital, and they're like, cool, what day are you looking to do it? And I was like, literally any point after Remembrance Sunday would be great. And they were like, okay. So I didn't hear anything for a couple of weeks, and then on, literally I think it was the week after Remembrance. It was the week after Remembrance. It was the Thursday, the 21st of November. I was at home and I'd gotten the letter through to say that the surgery date had been confirmed, and it was just less than a month away. It's like 3 weeks. It was like 10th of December. I was like, oh, that's really soon. Okay. And I, for a while, was hitting panic, and I was like, fuck, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I can do this. My best friend at the time, her mum had gone through a very similar thing, so I was relying on her quite a bit. And then my other best friend, he was there for me so much, and I have nothing but love for the both of them, and I'm so, so grateful for everything that those people did for me throughout this time. And the surgery date kept getting closer and closer, and every day that we get closer to the date, and I was like, I really don't want to do this. I don't know if I can put myself through this. And I was starting to go through a bit of an emotional moment as well at the time, and I was like, I don't think emotionally I'm in a position to be able to have the surgery. I then did. Long story short, I had the surgery. Surprise. On the 10th of December, I went in, left the house at 7 o'clock in the morning. I woke up before 7 so that I could eat and have something to drink before I was then not allowed to. I had some toast that morning. It was brilliant. I then had my water. I had a big Stanley water bottle. I was sipping on that until 10:30, and then I had to stop. I was like, cool. Got to the hospital, and then was sat in this waiting room area. I was on my phone. There was a TikTok trend going around at that time, and I was sat essentially all day on my phone watching this TikTok trend. And my mum was looking at me. I was like, I'm just really nervous. I don't want to be here. I want to be back at home in my bed. I'm very, very emotionally attached to my teddy bears. Hang on, I'm just going to go get them and show you. Okay, so this is Daniel. This is the teddy bear that I showed you in the first episode. My best friend got him back from Sweden for me. I haven't got a night without him since July last year. He came to the hospital with me. So that's Daniel. And this is Luna Bear, which my friend got me. This is Luna the tumour bear. And came in and sat with me after I had the surgery and was like right next to me as soon as I was done. So these are my emotional support pillars for that day. And I was freaking out. And I can remember they came in and they were like, right, I had people talk to me. I was signing consent forms, and they put like a Sharpie mark, like pointing to this one, like it's this one. I was like, this is really not helping. And I had like a scratch on the back of my hand as well. It's important to remember. They then took me in to have the surgery at about 4:30. It was around 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I can remember because it was a Tuesday, and so all of my friends had cadets that night, and for me to miss cadets was painful. It's like, I don't want to not be there, but I wasn't. And my best friend, she was at cadets, and she was like, I'm gonna keep my phone on me until I know that you're out of surgery. I was like, okay. And then my other best friend I was waiting to hear from him after the surgery as well. Went in, I was laid back on this bed, and they were like, so they can't put the cannula and the drip in this arm because this was the side I was having surgery on. And they were trying to get a vein up on this arm they couldn't put it in my hand because I had a scratch on my hand. They tried to get it in this arm, but they couldn't get a vein up on this arm. So I had the cannula in my foot. That was an interesting experience. I was sat, like, laid on this bed, and they gave me started to put stuff in my foot, and I was, like, crying. I was like, I'm so scared. And this lovely nurse, and I can't remember her name for the life of me, but she was, like, holding my hand. She was like, it's gonna be okay. And I was like, thanks. Like, I'm 17 and crying, and I was like, this is really humiliating. But I can remember the surgeon who was talking to me. We were talking about Formula 1, because I had been wearing my McLaren shirt when they first came in to talk to me. And he was like, trying to calm me down by talking to me about Silverstone and Formula 1. I was like, that's the last thing I remember before going into this operation. And then people say to you when you have an operation, when you have surgery, that it's like the best sleep of your life, and then you're awake and it's like nothing happened. And I was like, yeah, no, you definitely feel like you've been asleep. I woke up after the surgery. I was like, shit, is that it? Has it really been an hour and a half already? That's crazy. And I woke up, and this woman, I was obviously in this bed in a different room. And I was emotional, and I was like, oh my god, thank you so much. I really appreciate all that's been done for me. And I was like, Jesus. And I think back on it now, and I'm like, I don't know what they'd given me, but I was out of it. They wheeled me back into the room, and I was sat there on my own for a while, because my mum and dad they'd gone to go get themselves something to eat. And they came back, and it was quite a large ward, and I was sat in this bed singing Drip Drip Drop Little April Showers the whole time, because I was watching the drip go into my foot, and I was going drip drip drop little April showers for a good hour after the surgery, and they given me, I think it was a cheese sandwich and some mini cheddars, and a cup of tea. Oh, it was the best meal of my life, genuinely. Oh, nothing better, nothing beats it. And I can remember my mum saying, there's some Reese's in your bag. And I was like, thank you so much. I wasn't allowed my phone for a bit afterwards. And then my mum gave me my phone. And then I think the majority of my friends got some pretty interesting videos from me after surgery of me going, I'm out of surgery. I'm really high on drugs. And I'm pretty sure most of my friends got that. And I can remember sending one to my best friend Maisie, and she had just got to cadets when I sent her this video. And that was, so I had the surgery, and then the recovery it didn't take me too long to recover. And I do still have a scar now, and that was 5 months ago. The recovery was, using this arm for a while was a bit sore, and I was in quite a bit of pain for a while, but it wasn't awful. I think mentally I was so relieved after I had the surgery that that's it. I can put it behind me and I don't have to think about it again. And mentally it was such a relief to be able to go, this thing that has been here for like a year, longer than a year, is finally gone, and I can live my life now without having to think about it. I'm having some small problems with it now, but that's not to worry about at the moment. But I will always say this, and I know a lot of the time when you're in school, and I am like school, like year 7 to year 11, and you do these PSHE lessons, and they always tell you, oh, you should always check, you should always, have a feel, use palm of your hands to have a feel, and you're always sat in those lessons, you're like, oh, that's never going to happen to me, I'm a child, what on earth, like, they don't know what they're talking about. And I said this to my mum just after I had the surgery, if it had not been for my school and those PSHE lessons teaching me to check and to feel for it, I never would have done, and I never would have found it. And I am so, so grateful for my school at that time. Jesus Christ, I've been trying not to cry this whole episode, and it has failed. That whole process of them being like, you need to check, you need to make sure. If it had not been for that, then I would not be in the position that I am in today, and I am forever grateful for that. but you always, and it doesn't matter how old you are, like, I would have been 15 when I first found the lump, and I turned 18 in a few months, and that's crazy, that's insane. But you need to check, you need to make sure that you are constantly checking yourself, and then if you have concerns, go talk to a GP, talk to a doctor, talk to your parents, grandparents, close family, close friends, a trusted adult that can support you. Don't feel like you should be ashamed of it, because it happens to more people than you realise, and people that you might not necessarily know. I'm quite open about this journey now because it took so much emotional resilience and physical resilience to be able to get through what has been the last year of that process, and of that that entire thing was just, it was so difficult for so long. But yeah, just keep going with it, keep checking, keep talking to people, and then go from there. If you have any questions, my inbox is open on all of my socials. So on the 17 going on 30 Instagram page, the 17 going on 30 TikTok page. Yeah, feel free to just reach out if you have any questions at all. The NHS website is also really useful for this kind of thing, and the breast cancer website as well. There are also other fibroadenoma websites to go to as well if you have questions about it. But absolutely check yourself. And if I'm going to put some videos of post-surgery me at the end of this, so enjoy that. But yeah, thank you very much for listening to today's episode. I hope you all learned something new, if not listen to me ramble about my tumour for the last 25-30 minutes. But I will see you all next week on 17 going on 30. Thank you for listening.